Detroit Den 313. We're back, Stephen Will, talking that Detroit Lions football. Before we get going, you know what to do. Bang that subscribe button and do not forget the bell icon so you don't miss any of our new content. Steve, lay it on the people. What we talking?
Oh boy, I don't even know how to classify this. It's kind of like we're going to be breaking down a list, I guess. CBS Sports came out with I guess it's the top 32 quarterbacks ranked in order going into the 2024 season, and I sent it to you, and we both just immediately had a problem. We both immediately just said, "There's no way this list can be accurate." So we're going to go through this list. We're not going to spend all night on it. We're going to start. I think for me personally, you've seen the list. I know you don't have it memorized. I don't know if you have it in front of you or not, but where it gets interesting for me on this list is at 16. So we're going to keep this Lions related. So we're going to talk about, is Jared Goff better than this guy, this guy? We're going to go down the list a little bit. So Matt, let's start right off the rip. CBS Sports has Matthew Stafford ranked as number 16. Now, how do you feel about that, given how Jared Goff and Matthew Stafford are kind of forever connected for the rest of their careers? How do you feel about that?
I'll be honest, I don't care.
You think Goff is better than Matthew Stafford?
I don't know, man. I think
careful now.
Nah, it's just reality. I don't mind stating my opinion, but I just feel like if you put Matt Stafford on this team, I think we're better. To be honest, I think we're better if you put Matt Stafford on this team. If he's healthy, I think that he has more arm talent. I think that he's gonna do some amazing bomb throws to J-Mo. I think that he's gonna open up some things that maybe Jared Goff isn't gonna be able to open up. So yeah, I don't know. I think that maybe I would take Matt Stafford as a better player than Jared Goff, if I'm being honest. But I think that Jared Goff has father time on his side, and I think that he's got a healthier body. And if I'm going to continue with the team for the next 4 to 5 years, and I got to pick between the two, I'm probably going to go with Jared Goff, because I don't know, this every year moving forward might be Matt Stafford's last year. So I think that's the ultimate trade-off. But Matt Stafford never had a team like this. He never had an O-line like this, right? He never had a run game like this. He never had weapons like this. I know he had Calvin Johnson, but he didn't have weapons like this with the amount of time that Jared Goff has oftentimes. And I think that if Matt Stafford is at the helm of this thing, we're not going to see those third quarter woes. So, I think that Stafford being down there at 16 is kind of a sin, but at the same time, I'm more apt to worry about our guys, man. I'm more worried about Jared Goff.
This is a tough one because, like I said, this is Matthew Stafford, Jared Goff. They're going to be mentioned in the same breath for the rest of their careers, probably with the trade. I've always said, I've said it on the record, if you took Matthew Stafford to 2012 and put him on this Detroit Lions team the last year and this coming year, we're talking Super Bowl. Like, buy the tickets, buy the hotels, book the flights. But I think you're right, and I'm glad you sprinkled that in at the end. If you're talking about the longevity going forward, I think Jared Goff is the guy. He's avoided major injuries, and I know Stafford has too, but he had, he's just always got a little tweak going on here and there, whatever it may be. He's got a little injury history. I'm not saying like he's ever torn an ACL or anything like that, but dislocating his shoulder.
Was getting murdered on live television for a decade.
Absolutely.
You know what I mean? Like, so I mean, it's Matt Stafford has got a broken back, a messed up neck, shoulders. The dude is
collarbones.
Yeah, the dude is his body just got absolutely destroyed for a decade. So the dude, and I don't wish any bad for him. I hope I'm wrong, but that dude's life after football is probably going to be, it's going to be tough. He's going to have to get managed. He's going to have to manage. Yeah, he's going to have to manage pain. So, but and again, thank you for that, Matt. In all seriousness,
Matthew Stafford's probably obviously had the most successful part of the career. I mean, you win a Super Bowl, you're one up on Jared Goff automatically. It's just the facts. Like, we love Matthew Stafford. He won a Super Bowl. We're hoping to get one, and maybe we call that trade a Detroit Lions win with how we're set up going into the future. But yeah, I think going forward, I would take Jared Goff. Now let's get into, here's another name, but we've kind of, I don't remember if it was on a live show. I think we talked about this on our last live show. Would you take Jared Goff over number 15 on this list, Trevor Lawrence?
Man, if I could get my hands on Trevor Lawrence, I would pack Jared Goff's bags And I know. Listen, that's probably not popular, and I'm not saying we should get rid of our quarterback, and I'm not trying to throw shade, but Trevor Lawrence can do everything that you need a quarterback to do on a football field. So I think that, again, if you put Trevor Lawrence in with all of these weapons, all of these tools, this offensive line, I think we're knocking on the same door to the same conversations, which is Super Bowls. And the only difference is you might be talking about a decade worth of Super Bowls because he's a young, hungry guy who's going to be around this league for hopefully another 10 years, 10 seasons, if his body holds up. So yeah, Trevor Lawrence, man. Yeah. I think that he's better, if I'm being honest. How do you feel about it?
This is another tough one. It's crazy that we're not even doing this full list, and I understand your rationale, but Trevor Lawrence, sometimes to me, when I watch him play, he makes some stupid mistakes. He forces some throws. He's not always on time. He's not always accurate. I think he's very hot. When he's hot, he's hot.
Listen, Steve, before you get going, I got one thing. I don't mean to cut you off, but I got one thing that I think is gonna kind of put it in perspective. Urban Meyer.
Yeah, we got to give him. We got to give him. We got to give him a pass for
his career started with a nightmare. Yeah. A guy talking about he didn't even know who Aaron Donald was. Who is this 99 that's just wrecking the game right now? Who is this guy? Like,
yeah, you're right. You're flat out. You're just right. He's got to get a pass for that.
He spent more time putting his hand on women's behinds than he did coaching football. Like, this poor guy's quarterback or coach was a nightmare, man. So yeah, man, I think Trevor Lawrence, man, if you look at just his skill set, he's a beast. And if you look at what he was ascending doing last year, and he's still ascending, man. He hasn't even reached his peak yet. He's
still on his rookie deal too.
Yeah. Yep.
So, I think I just need to see more. So right now, if I have to choose today, I'm going to take Jared Goff. It's just too small of a sample size for me. I know he had that playoff game where he was incredible in the second half against the Chargers 2 years ago. But other than that, like, I can't think, and obviously I don't like dedicate all of my Sundays to watching Jacksonville Jaguars football. But from what I do watch of Trevor Lawrence, like that playoff game is what they expected him to be all the time. And it was just kind of like a little glimpse of it. So I need to see more before I'm willing to say I'm going to take him over Jared Goff. But he does have all the tools. It's just they don't show up as much as I need them to.
Yeah, I just think that they would show up more, man, if you had the best offensive line in football, you had the best running back tandem in football, you had the highest paid receiver in football for 3 minutes, and then sprinkle in, J-Mo and, a guy that we're
going to talk about. He could be a weapon. He could be very good. If Jacksonville keeps building their team, they could be a problem. Yeah. But this is another one at 14. This is someone that we've kind of compared Jared Goff to quite a bit because I think they're very similar. 14, CBS's list, they have Kirk Cousins. Jared Goff better
than Kirk Cousins? Yeah, absolutely. I think so. I think, I don't like talking crap about players, man, but Kirk Cousins, when the moment gets intense, man, he has some troubles. So
folds like
Jared Goff. Yeah, Jared Goff performs, man, in big moments oftentimes. Not every time, we talked about the Super Bowl and we've hashed it out about that, but I can just relate to what have you done for me lately. And lately he played in an NFC Championship game, and I know that we lost that game, but we did not lose that game because of Jared Goff, in my opinion.
Facts. That's not an opinion. It's just the truth.
Yeah.
Just lay it on the people and don't say it's your opinion. Say it's the facts.
Yeah. Yeah.
Right? Yeah. I think their play style is very similar. They're both those pocket passing quarterbacks that are kind of slowly getting shuffled out of the league. We'll see if it makes a comeback. I don't know. But Kirk Cousins, he's always had, when he was in Minnesota, he had Justin Jefferson. Like,
I was just going to say, and I feel like if you give Jared Goff Justin Jefferson, I think that you're going to see an even better Jared Goff. You know what I mean? That's around if you give him Justin Jefferson, Jordan Addison. You know what I'm saying? So I don't know, man. I just feel like he's better than Kirk Cousins.
Yeah, absolutely. I'll take Jared Goff immediately. So obviously CBS on this list, Jared Goff is 13. So the rest of these people or these players that we're going to be talking about, CBS has them rated higher than Jared Goff. And I think we're going to get into some interesting topics here, William. How do you feel about at number 12 being rated higher than our guy JG, Tua Tagovailoa?
Man, Tua gets hot. We're talking about conscious Tua. I'm assuming, right? So
Yes.
yeah, so Tua, man, and like I said before, man, we bust your chops, man. We wish you all the well, and except when you're playing the Detroit Lions, and that's not to get hurt. That's just for us to kick your butt. But that said, you can get hot to him, man, and he can definitely get into a flow. But I think that Jared Goff is more consistent. I think that he's done more over his career, and I think that I would definitely take Jared Goff over Tua and his lack of ability to play in the cold and his little baby hands. How you feeling about it?
I don't even know how Tua Tagovailoa is in the top 15. He has the best receiving core in football, arguably, with Jalen Waddle, Tyreek Hill, and now they sprinkle in Odell Beckham, and then they got a freak show at running back with Devin Achane. I know he's banged up quite a bit, but he's got all the tools around him. I don't know. I wasn't really high on Tua. I know when he was coming out of college, there was people like dying for the Lions to draft him, and I thank God every day that we didn't. So I'll just leave it at that. I don't know how he's ranked higher. I think he's ranked higher because of the people he has on his team, if I'm being honest.
Yeah, I know.
Number 11, guy we're very familiar with, Aaron Rodgers.
Yep.
How do you feel about that?
This Aaron Rodgers, Grandpa Rodgers.
Hey,
I think that's what it boils
Aaron
down
Rodgers
to.
in general, I guess.
He's not the same dude, man. He's not the same dude. Now, if we're talking about MVP, Aaron Rodgers, and I understand that recently he proved to the Green Bay Packers that he could still play some football, but on the way out, Kirby Joseph just decided to let him know that, hey, if you stick around, I'm going to be your father. So you might want to get out of
adoption
the
paperwork
NFC.
is in the mail.
Yeah. You might want to get out of NFC North. So, but I think that he's definitely taking a step back, man. Father Time is undefeated. So this Aaron Rodgers versus Jared Goff, I'm going with Jared Goff 10 times out of 10. Am I crazy, man, or how do you feel?
Going forward, I'm with you. I'm team Jared Goff. Now, if I could take the Aaron Rodgers of like 5-6 years ago, probably be Aaron Rodgers.
Good
and
night.
I hate saying that, William.
It's just about the facts.
It's just if I could punch one football player in the face, I think it would be Aaron Rodgers.
Jeez.
Just a straight right into his chin.
Man,
just
what Aaron do to you?
Everything. He's ruined my football Sundays thousands of times. Like what the list goes on. The Hail Mary that I was at, I got a front row seat to the Hail Mary game that shouldn't even happen. Like, want me to just keep going? Like,
it's a Detroit Lions issue, man. That's not
I could turn this into a show of why I just ate Aaron Rodgers if I wanted to, but let's just keep the buck rolling because here at number 10, Jordan Love.
Yeah, Dude Love.
Jared Goff or Jordan Love? Who you taking?
Hey, man, Dude Love has had one piece of a season. I'm not even going to say he played well all season. So he's had one half or 3/4 of a season where he played some good football, man. So I can't deem him as better than Jared Goff. I do like what he did, but I got to see more of it. So for me, it's a no for right now, but I'm definitely going to put some respect on his name going into these games in the following season, seeing what he does. I think he's better than
anyone that wears that. I'll never respect anyone that wears that jersey, William, ever. It's in my DNA. How dare you wear that shirt and you say nice things about Jordan Love? No, I'll say this. I'll be completely honest. I think Jordan Love, my opinion will change next year if he has another good year. But like you said, the first like 5-6 games of the season didn't play too well. Got really hot. Right around, I think it was like the week before we played them Thanksgiving is when he started to really turn it around. Then he went on a nice little run through us in the Thanksgiving game, ruined my turkey, ruined my shopping, ruined my whole weekend. Went on a run in the playoffs too, where we were kind of cheering for him, where if they beat the 49ers, we would have had that extra home game. So we were kind of Packers fans there for a minute, but the future of Jordan Love looks good, but I need to see more than 11 games. I don't
know. This future looks good, man. He's playing against us twice a year.
That's true. We might just put him out to pasture. I hope, but realistically, Jared Goff, just too small of a sample size on Jordan Love. And I'm trying to say nice things about Packers. That's as nice as it's going to get from me.
I understand.
Number 9. This is an interesting one too, because I don't know how I feel about him being in the top 10. Number 9, Justin Herbert. Jared Goff or Herbie?
Man, this is a situation to where you got to go with what's happened on the field. Now, if we were doing the Pajama Olympics, it would be Justin Herbert all day. But he just hasn't panned out on the field. So I do think eventually he's going to get it. I think that he got exactly what he needed in a fresh start. I think that Coach Harbaugh is going to get him what he needs as far as back to basics football. Um, Ground and pound, run game, play action, get a feel for the game, be able to get settled, and then go out and be himself. So I think that we're going to see a better Justin Herbert, but as it stands right now, it's got to be Jared Goff. Am I crazy? What do you think?
I think you're borderline crazy, but I can't say that you're
Understand?
wrong. I can't say that I disagree with you. I think he's in the same boat as Trevor Lawrence. Tools are all there. They just haven't came out of the shed. He's got all the potential. He's what, like 6'6"? Like he's a giant of a kid.
Mhm.
He can run, got a cannon of an arm. It just hasn't, like, I know he's got his contract and he's set up there in Los Angeles for a little while. So they obviously like him quite a bit. But I don't know. This is one that I could really just flip a coin on because I see the upside. It's just the same thing as Trevor Lawrence. Just when's it going to happen? When's he going to play like flawless football for like a long stretch of time? Like not just one or two games here and there. Like when's he going to just put it together? I don't know. Jared Goff is just the definition of consistency, I think. Like I know what I'm getting out of Jared Goff on Sundays, and I don't want to
Yeah.
risk that.
Yeah, you're getting 3/4 out of him.
Well, he's the
I'm just
quarterback.
saying.
I don't need that one. I got the quarterback.
All right.
You see what I did there?
I did. I see.
Yeah.
That was
Okay.
clever.
Yeah. All right. Number 8, another name often mentioned with Jared Goff, CBS's list. Dak Prescott.
Yes, sir. Hey man, Dak Prescott is an absolute beast to me, man. He's one of those guys that I feel like is super underrated. And I know a lot of people are probably going to be upset with me saying it, but if I got to pick one out of these two guys
Don't you
to
dare.
lead, listen, if I got to pick one of these two guys to lead the Detroit Lions, we're talking about Jared Goff being a statue. Dak Prescott can go get you a first down every now and then. You know what I mean? Dak Prescott is a guy that has maybe struggled a little bit, but I think if you put him in the right situation with a Brad Holmes and Dan Campbell and the best offensive line in football, you have got to take Jared Goff 10 times out of 10. Are you nuts?
I was good, William. I tell
Are
you
you
what,
nuts?
I was just sitting here.
I don't know how he's
spinning
number
the
8 on
wheels.
this. I don't know how he's 8 on this list. Are you crazy? How's he
I
8?
was sitting here wondering, do I get the hammer or the nails? Do I crucify William? Do I let other people do it?
Yeah, there's no way, man. There's no way. I don't know how he's number 8 on this list. There's a lot of guys that I would take over Dak Prescott. Jerry Jones doesn't even believe in him. How are we going to believe in him? Go ahead. It's on you.
I'm just really glad that you took a right turn there because I did not like the direction that this was heading. And this was like one that I was like, I don't know how Will's going to feel about this one. I got a pretty good idea for the rest. But Dak Prescott, look, I hate him only because he plays for the Cowboys. If he played for any other team, I would respect and cheer for Dak a lot more. I like his story about, the things he's been through. He's been very open with his mental health, his brother committing suicide a few years ago. He's been very open about that, where a lot of people probably wouldn't want to talk about stuff like that. So I respect that. It's just that he plays for the Dallas Cowboys.
Yeah.
I think if you put him on damn near, I won't say damn near every team, but I think if you put him on you put him on a team like the Indianapolis Colts, I think the Colts would be a problem. I think they're an instantly much better team. And I'm just using them as an example. I think they have a Dallas Cowboys problem, not a Dak Prescott problem. They got Jerry Jones just putting his hand in everything. He's just too involved. I don't know. I like Dak, but I would definitely take Jared Goff over him.
Hey man, hot take since you mentioned the Colts. I don't think that Dak starts on the Colts. So while we're talking,
don't you dare go back down this Anthony Richardson trail.
listen,
I've
I'm
taken
just
more
saying.
snaps at quarterback than Anthony Richardson in the NFL. Damn near.
I'm just saying. I don't think that he starts on the Colts. Is all I'm saying.
Anthony Richardson would be holding Dak Prescott's jockstrap, if we're being honest. Number 7, William. This is another weird one because I don't know. Number 7, Jalen Hurts.
Yes, sir.
Better or worse than Goff?
Listen, this is a weird answer. You always say that I give political answers, and this is probably going to be a political answer because I'm going to say this. Jared Goff is a better quarterback than Jalen Hurts, but I wouldn't mind having Jalen Hurts leading my team out on a Sunday. So I think that if I got to choose in between the two, seeing what I've seen out of both players so far, I really like the idea of Jalen Hurts extending football plays. I like the idea of him being able to get rushing touchdowns. I like the idea of him playing behind another phenomenal offensive line because he's shown us what he can do behind an awesome offensive line with upgrades at running back and really, I don't know, and another awesome receiving core. So I don't want to just say, I'm not going to come out and say an upgrade at receiving core, but I'll say this. I feel like the upside of Jameson Williams is better than the upside of Devonta Smith. Now, Jameson Williams could be a bust for what we drafted him to be in that first round spot if he doesn't really take a huge step forward this year like we think that he's going to. So he could be somebody that never reaches where Devonta Smith is, or he could be somebody that flies by him. So that's kind of the way I'm looking at it. Then you add the other pieces to the puzzle because after those two big dogs out there in Philly, I think that we might have the better receiving core. Hot take. I don't know. Am I crazy about feeling like our receiving core might be a little better after AJ Brown and Devonta Smith?
You're absolutely nuts about that. I would take our weapons. If you had said just our offensive weapons, if you can throw in Sam Laporta, Gibbs, Montgomery.
He's a part of our receiving core to me. I'm not just saying wide receivers. I'm saying our guys that receive the football. Like who we're talking about, Dallas Goedert.
I actually really like Dallas Goedert. He's my tight end.
He's okay, but if I'm picking between him and Sam Laporta, it's Sam Laporta 172 times out of 10. So I mean, I just feel like our weapons after their first two big weapons, I really like, man. I like what Raymond adds on any given Sunday. I like the potential of what Donovan Peoples-Jones could be, and I like another thing that I'm not going to allude to because we may be talking about him later.
I'm sure we will. I kind of want to play Switzerland on this one and say I like both of them, and I would like both of them to be my starting quarterback, but I know I can't. So who has more upside? They've both been to a Super Bowl. They both lost a Super Bowl. So if you want to just compare the careers, Jalen Hurts probably should have won the MVP a couple years ago until he got hurt. So I don't know. This is probably the toughest one because yes, Jalen Hurts is more athletic. He's more versatile. He's more of a weapon. But Jared Goff is an assassin when you give him a pocket. He's an assassin when you let him get through his reads. So it's kind of like if these two could combine into one quarterback, they would be absolutely lethal. So it's kind of just take your pick on which one you want. So I'm going to show my loyalty. I'm going to take Jared Goff. Screw you, Jalen Hurts.
I respect
Screw him.
I respect it.
Oh, William. This is a guy we talked about quite a bit last year. Number 6. I already know where you're going, and I'm curious if you're going to tiptoe the line because of some family ties here, but Lamar Jackson.
Hey, listen, I'll put it out there. Kingston, Daddy loves you, buddy. Daddy loves you. And what I'm about to say may hurt your feelings. But Lamar Jackson is a guy who can run around, and it's all cute and it's fun, and he does great things. And out there with the Baltimore Ravens, their brand of football where they run the ball at you, and they kind of make it ugly, and they go out and play great defense, and they grind on you throughout the game and try to win tough, close games for the most part. But I think when you got a quarterback that like Jared Goff that can lead an offense to be a top 5 offense, I think that you got to go with a guy like Lamar Jackson. If you put freaking Lamar Jackson on the Lions, are you out of your mind? Are you out of your mind? If you put Lamar Jackson behind this offensive line, if you give him these 2 running backs, if you give him these receivers, he's never had a receiver to me that's truly been a dog, just an absolute beast. If you give him
Mark Andrews,
a receiver, a wide receiver.
He catches the ball.
No, he doesn't.
He's part of William. You can't play both sides now.
No. I can't play both sides because Mark Andrews isn't going to dominate a football game. There's only one tight end to me that can go out and dominate a football game week in and week out, and that's Travis Kelce. Mark Andrews can be made to disappear, and it's been shown. Listen,
when you snap his leg on a drop tackle.
Listen. Lamar Jackson has never had an Amon-Ra St. Brown or a J-Mo, let alone, like somebody that was just truly like a Justin Jefferson or something crazy like that.
Odell Beckham?
So I think that the corpse of Odell Beckham, what are we talking about? This is even an Odell Beckham that can play a full season. Listen, I think that you put Lamar Jackson on the Detroit Lions, good night, because it would just be electricity. I still, for the life of me, don't understand why I don't even know what happened. Every NFL team decided that they weren't going to get in and get into the race to get him, because I think that him behind this O-line with these two running backs, with these receivers, with this tight end, buddy, it would be absolutely scary. And I don't have that type of feeling with Jared Goff. Is Jared Goff good? Yeah, but Lamar Jackson, a guy that's been MVP of the league, a guy that's put teams on his back. 10 times out of 10, Lamar for me. How you feeling? Because I kind of feel like you're on the opposite side of the spectrum here, and I gotta hear it. Tell me, spill the beans.
Here's the thing about Lamar Jackson. He's a running back who plays quarterback. First,
I disagree totally. Right? He can sling.
He can throw the ball. He can throw the ball. Can he throw it? Can he carve apart a good defense? Because I've watched him struggle for years against Pittsburgh.
Without dog receivers.
He won an MVP, so it tells me he doesn't need to have dog receivers. You're the MVP of the league.
Because he was putting the team on his back.
Because he ran for over 1,000 yards as well.
He was putting the team on his back.
And has he ever been to a Super Bowl?
No, because he hasn't had the same options.
The Detroit Lions are a top 5 offense.
Yeah, he hasn't had a top 5. He hasn't had a top 5 offense. You're telling me that offense isn't better?
They were the number 1 rushing. The Ravens were the number 1 rushing team in the NFL last year.
Do the Detroit Lions get worse if Lamar Jackson is their quarterback, or better?
I don't think it's better, but is it substantially better where I just need to cast away Jared Goff? Like, do we go from 5 to 4? Is that really worth casting him away for a guy who's never won a big game? I don't know. That's the topic. I mean, he won the MVP because he ran for like 1,400 yards. I mean, that's just, it doesn't happen. He's a freak athlete. But if I need him to go on a drive where I have to force him to pass the ball for 75 yards, I don't know. I don't know that he gets it done. I don't know when. He's got a strong arm. He's got a very strong arm. I'm not saying there's a throw he can't make. Sometimes he's just, I don't know. It just doesn't do it for me passing wise. Where Jared Goff, not the strongest arm, but we're kind of splitting here. I don't know. It's weird, but I don't know. I just don't really buy into Lamar Jackson over
what receiver does he have that can consistently get separation or body you? And if you say Zay Flowers, the midget of Boston College, I'm going to say stop it immediately. He's a compliment. He's not a
Mark Andrews. Rashad Bateman.
Separation. Golly, this is you're answering my question for me. Thank you. That's all I can say. That's all I can say.
Number 5. This is another very, very interesting one. Houston Texans quarterback CJ Stroud.
Are you nuts? Give me Jared Goff. And I respect what CJ did last year, man. Like I can take nothing away from it. But I don't know that it's gonna disappear, but you're not gonna be a rookie coming to this league with expectations of me of a sophomore slump, because now they got your film, now they understand what your tendencies are, and now we're gonna see if you can adjust. Now we're gonna see who you really are. I can't put you over Jared Goff yet. But if you do it again this year, we gotta have a tough conversation. But it's just not there yet for me. How do you feel?
You took the words right out of my mouth. I need one more year from him before I can put him ahead of Jared. 1 year is not enough when I'm talking about a guy in Jared Goff who's been to a Super Bowl. Like, I'm not trying to lean on that 24/7, but CJ Stroud could have a very good career, very, very good career. But I just need one more year before I'm ready to put him ahead of Jared, who's just more established in the league. End of story.
Yeah. Facts.
I don't know. 4 and 3 for me are pretty easy. Let's just say Joe Burrow. Let's just combine these two. Joe Burrow and Josh Allen. Would you take Jared Goff over either one of those two?
Over Joe Burrow or Josh Allen?
Yeah.
Are you nuts? Listen, I would move Jared Goff with my feet, just putting all of his stuff on my back and walking it to California piece by piece. If you told me I was going to get either one of those guys, like, no 2 men in a truck, just Will and his biscuits, walking Jared's couch and clothes across the town. Like, what are we talking about? Get him here. I will make a sacrifice. I will make a sacrifice.
If it's to Cincinnati, you could probably make that trip to Cincinnati in probably like 24 hours straight of walking.
But
Buffalo, if it's snowing, you're in trouble.
Hey, I will make the trek through the snow, man, and do what needs to be done for the Detroit Lions to get either one of those guys. I can't.
I'm with you. I could probably make a case against Josh Allen, but I'm not going to go down that road just yet because Josh Allen is a freak, but kind of doesn't show up in the big games. So we'll just leave it at that. Number 2, this one, William, blows my mind. Brock Purdy is the number 2 best quarterback in the NFL, according to CBS. Take the bike, do whatever you need to do, take as long as you want. I'm just going to sit back and enjoy the show, William. Go ahead.
I'm going to tell you this, and this is I'm not even going to give the people what they want. I'm just going to say this and this only, and we're going to move on. This is ridiculous. And no disrespect to Brock Purdy. Like, he's a good football player and he has overachieved and he is doing a phenomenal job. What a great offense and phenomenal weapons. But they had the audacity to call Jared Goff a game manager. This is a game manager. Like, Brock Purdy is a game manager. He is managing arguably the best running back in the NFL.
Yep.
Right. Arguably one of the greatest left tackles to ever play the game. A phenomenal just receiving core with depth. A great defense with one of the best front 7, in the league. What are we talking about? Number 2. It's
second best quarterback in the NFL.
There's 10 guys that I'm taking ahead of him immediately. Like, immediately. I'm not even going to think twice. I'm not going to.
Yeah.
Listen, if I don't know, and maybe I'm just an idiot, and I'm sure you guys are going to tell me in the chat. And Steve, you might tell me that I'm an idiot right now in the second for the words that are about to leave my mouth. But
I'm not going to say
you might though. You might, because what I'm going to say is it might come off kind of crazy. But I'm not for sure that if I got to choose between Jared Goff leading the Lions and Brock Purdy leading the Lions, that I'm not going to still choose Jared Goff, right? Because I don't know if what he does necessarily fits the Detroit Lions, like what in the same way that Jared Goff does. Now, maybe it would, maybe it wouldn't, but I don't know. And I don't know if this Brock Purdy situation is going to be one of those things that lasts, another 5, 6, 7 seasons. It might be 2 or 3 more seasons, and then this thing is put to bed. So I don't know, man. Brock Purdy at number 2 is absolutely crazy to me. Guys, feel free to tell me I'm crazy in the chat. But Steve, would you and I'm not going to put you on the spot to just say flat out, I would do this, I would do that. But would it be an easy decision for you if you had to choose between Jared Goff and Brock Purdy?
I would choose Jared Goff any time you wanted to ask me. You could call me at 2:00 in the morning. If you call me at 2:00 tonight and say, hey, and I wake up and I'm half awake, you say, hey, man, Jared Goff or Brock Purdy, I'm going to say, give me Jared Goff. Good night. That's just how that conversation is going to go. I cannot picture a quarterback who is in a better situation. Like, this is the San Francisco 49ers team is what I want the Detroit Lions to be. Mm-hmm. Solid on defense, solid on special teams, solid on offense. I think the weakest part of the San Francisco 49ers is Brock Purdy. Yeah. Hot take, maybe? I don't know. He's not the reason they lost the Super Bowl. I'll give him that. I will say that about Brock Purdy. He is not the reason they lost that Super Bowl. Patrick Mahomes was the reason that they lost that Super Bowl. Let's just call it how it is. Yeah. But halfway through the season, or maybe like a little, like three quarters of the way through the season, and people were talking about Brock Purdy as the MVP. And we came on here. I don't know if we were recording or if it was during an episode because we don't really talk 49ers, obviously. But we said, Brock Purdy's not even the 7th best player on his team.
What are we talking about?
Like, if you had to rank the 49ers, he wouldn't be number 2. Yeah. He wouldn't be number 5. He'd be somewhere around 7 to 10, if I have to be honest with you. And for everyone saying, well, he's better than Jimmy Garoppolo. How old's little Will? How old's little Will?
He's 5.
He's a better quarterback than Jimmy Garoppolo. Okay.
I can't tell
not sure he could throw the tightest spiral in the world. Just got to get it to your playmakers. That's what Brock Purdy does. That's all you got to do, little Will. Hey, give it to McCaffrey, give it to Debo, give it to IU, give it to Kittle. Let Nick Bosa go out there and get 20 sacks a season. Let the best linebackers in football, Fred Warner, just fly around. Like, he's just in a perfect situation. And I'm not hating on Brock Purdy But I think if you put Brock Purdy on the Indianapolis Colts, they don't get better.
I agree.
Obviously, number one, Patrick Mahomes. I don't think we really even had a conversation. I would hands down take Jared Goff over Patrick Mahomes any day of the week.
Steve,
I'm kidding.
Don't even play around. Listen, I'm not a Patrick Mahomes fan.
I hate him.
I'm not a.
But I respect him.
They call the slappies or whatever. I'm not a Patrick Mahomes slappy, but I mean, you gotta, just like you said, man, you gotta give respect where respect is due. The guy can do everything that a quarterback needs to do besides beat the Detroit Lions, and
Open week.
Yeah, tip my hat to him. You're a heck of a football player. That's it.
Yeah, he's the GOAT. I will say the GOAT. He's the greatest in the game right now, and it's not close. And Brock Purdy being behind him is blasphemous. Yeah. I personally, just real quick, my final thoughts is Patrick Mahomes, and then you can make a case for 2 through 5, but I really like Joe Burrow. That's just my guy. Joe Burrow is just my guy. I like him. And then maybe Josh Allen, but Brock Purdy being in the top 5 blew my mind, kind of sparked this whole thing. So guys, we broke down the top 16. We didn't do the top 32. Those guys are just not on Jared Goff's level, in my opinion. If you want to talk to, Watson and his hand jobs and all that stuff, we'll have to find another time for that. So leave some comments down below. Kind of a longer episode. Hit that like button. If you're new, stick around, subscribe. We'll be back later with another show.
Peace.